Hi friends, welcome in. My name is Shannon and welcome to my channel, Shannon the Fifth. We discuss all things womanhood. So if it is lifestyle or wellness, motherhood and career, we talk about it here. So if you're interested in those types of conversations, then come on in, have a seat, and let's chat. So today I have an interesting heart topic that I think is useful to women specifically. Of course, it's useful to anyone, but women specifically. And of course, women who operate on a level of faith. Especially like there's all these little categories, these subcategories, right? But especially if you are in the middle of a lifestyle transition. So as I've mentioned before on this channel, I am in the beginning, middle, and I don't know where I am, honestly, on this journey, but I am in a pivot. I am doing a major lifestyle, career, wellness, motherhood pivot all at the same time. And I have had to lean heavily on my faith, and I have had to lean into my womanhood to really understand it and to really grow with it and grow through it. But I am brought to this topic that I want to discuss today because of what I'm learning and because of what I'm seeing. So today we're going to talk about signs that you are operating in your purpose. This topic is really special to me because I'm speaking from a perspective where I felt so lost and disjointed and confused and even sometimes abandoned, by different people, relationships, and even, if I gotta be honest, in my faith, right? I know God does not abandon us. We often turn our back to Him, but sometimes it just feels like, God, I'm reaching out, I'm scared, I'm lonely, I'm confused. Are you listening? And you don't hear anything. But today, I want to talk about signs that you're operating in your purpose. And I find this to be really important when you are taking big risks that heavily involve your faith, right? Because we can take small risks and we can rely very much on our own understanding. And when something doesn't work out, we're like, oh, I didn't do this, or I could have done this better, right? But when you're taking a big risk and you are relying on your faith, I think you constantly seek signs that you're moving in the right direction. I think it's the human nature in us, and I think it's the spiritual nature in us to feel that alignment with God, with that alignment with direction. So as I am building my brand, The Fifth Curve, where I am providing doulas with post-certification training, technology, tools, and wellness frameworks so that they can help combat the Black maternal mortality crisis. I am seeking a lot of signs that I'm operating in my purpose. This is career 2.0 for me. Career 1.0, I leaned heavily on my natural talent. Career 2.0, I'm in the weeds. I'm in the weeds. I have a lot of lived experience. I have a lot of research. But this is a faith and purpose calling. So a lot of that backstory, right? But I have identified 7 signs that you are operating in your purpose. These are my 7 signs. Your signs might be different. God may talk to you differently. Your signs may show up and manifest differently. If they show up and manifest the same way as mine, we're here. Our circle is here. But if they don't, it doesn't mean that my way is wrong or your way is wrong. I'm just giving you some guidance and perspective of what to watch out for. Okay? So let's get into this list of 7 things or 7 signs that you are operating in your purpose. So technically, these are not in any real order, but as I made the list, I just downloaded from my spirit the 7 signs that I've received, and so they created in order. But no chronological order here. But the first sign that I saw and I felt is receiving confirmation or validation without seeking it. So I think that is like a universal thing, right? We always ask for a sign. Like, oh, send me a sign that I'm doing this. Send me a sign that I need to do that. And so we start seeking that sign. And so depending on how your brain works, depending on how desperate you are, depending on a lot of different variables, you can start seeing signs. You can see the sign that you want to see. Okay, so that kind of, you still kind of control that if you really think about it. But I think when you are not seeking that confirmation and you're not seeking that validation, and something appears that is in alignment with the direction you're moving, that is a sign. That is a sign of confirmation. That is a sign of validation. As I took this faith walk, career walk, wellness walk, motherhood walk, lifestyle walk, as I took all these different walks, I stopped seeking confirmation and validation because I didn't know what to look for. Everything was all over the place. It literally felt like I threw confetti in the air and was just like, rain down on me. I don't know. So I couldn't seek confirmation or validation because I didn't know what to look for. What I found out in the process is that confirmation and validation found me. And so I think when you're in that alignment with purpose and direction and instruction, that confirmation and validation will find you. So that was one of the signs. Now let's talk about another sign that I saw. So the second sign that you're operating in your purpose is that words and numbers align. Okay, so we've heard of angel numbers and things like that, and words of confirmation. But I think that there's a deeper level and more context to that. So I remember riding in the car one day after talking to someone, it may have been my husband or something. I was saying certain things about a path I wanted to take or something I wanted to do, X, Y, and Z. So I'm riding in the car later on that day, later on that week by myself. And I turn on a podcast. And I promise you, that podcast regurgitated almost word for word what I had said to my husband. To the point, I literally pulled over the car, parked it, cried a little bit. I rewound the podcast and heard it again. Teared up a little bit, cried a little bit, and then called my husband and asked him, hey, do you remember this conversation where I said XYZ? And he was like, yeah. I said, well, I just heard on a podcast XYZ, right? The words aligned like it was almost scripted. It was spoken back to me. For me, I don't really see angel numbers, if that's a thing. Maybe because I'm a word girl, not a math girl, not a number girl. Numbers give me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know. But I do get number signs, right? Again, it comes out in the same way where I will have a dream or I will have a conversation and I'll say a number. And then that number is regurgitated. It comes back and it comes back directly to me. It could be in a different reference. Like if I said the number 17 and I'm having a conversation about something I'm doing and I mentioned 17 as a reference point. It could be hours, days, weeks later, and someone says, oh yeah, and then 17, and then 17, and it just keeps coming back to me. And so for me, a sign that you are walking in your purpose, or you are aligning with your purpose, is that words and numbers align. They are regurgitated. They are given back to you the same way that you spoke them. So that's another sign. So let's get into some more signs. So my next sign is interesting to me because I consider myself an introvert. Every personality test I've ever taken says I'm an extrovert. I don't get it. I do not get it. Anyway, I'm an introvert. And so my next sign is crossing paths with people you can serve or people who serve you. This is big to me because I find joy and peace in solitude. I love my own company. I do not mind being a hermit. I can stay curled up in a room with a book, pen, paper, music, TV on, off, whatever, and sit with my own company. I do not crave social settings. So when I am out socially, I am also kind of socially awkward, but for some reason it comes across as very extroverted. Long story around the point. The point is this. When you cross paths with people you can serve or who can serve you, all of it connects. The work that I'm doing now in the birth justice, birth work, advocacy, and technology space is new to me. And yet, I am consistently crossing paths in each of those spaces, wellness space as well, in each of those spaces. And my work that I'm doing serves them, the answers they have, the resources they have, the connections, the opportunities serve me. It is mutual. And I would not have met or known this person had I not stepped into this space. And also considering how closed in I tend to be, it's kind of weird that I'm even meeting this person in the first place. Now, it's not as magical as because I love my solitude and I'm sitting in my room one day, someone magically appears in my room or someone enters my house. No, I do have to go out. I do have to be in spaces to create the opportunity to cross paths with that person. But what I'm saying is, when I'm in that space, whether it's the gas station, I have an electric car, I don't go to the gas station. Whether it's the gym, the grocery store, a school pickup line, I don't know, just being out in random places. Something draws us to each other. And I'm crossing their path, they're crossing mine, and lo and behold, I can serve them and they can serve me. So I believe that that is a sign that you are operating in your purpose. Let's go to the next one. This one is big. Well, all of mine are big to me, but this one is big too because I am an overthinker. I'm sorry, y'all. If y'all see me swatting, it's a fly in here and I don't do flies. I digress. I'm an overthinker. And as an overthinker, overanalyzer, overachiever, just over it, right? I rarely have moments of clarity. So for me, my sign is clarity without the chaos. And so what I mean by that is, as that over person, right? I can come up with a solution. I can come up with an answer. I can make a decision. That's fine. It usually involves a very chaotic route. Okay? So how I made that decision is a tangled web of smaller decisions and smaller thoughts and smaller interactions and all these things to get there. It looks like a big ball of yarn where there are knots that you don't even see. Like the yarn is tied in knots in places, you know? So it's chaotic. And for me, a sign that I'm operating in my purpose is clarity without that chaos. Where I can see something very clearly. I can make a decision very clearly and it does not require a chaotic process. It does not require me to ruminate on it for hours, days, weeks, months. It doesn't require me to get myself in a frenzy or, become erratic and all of those things. It is a very clear route to clarity. And the answer is simple, and it's clean, and it's precise. It just doesn't require all of that. And that lets me know that I'm operating in my purpose. If I have to fight for clarity, if I have to convince myself that something is clear, if I have to weave a tangled web and then deconstruct it and untangle these knots and try to put it back together to get clarity, I think it's forced clarity, right? And by the time I get the clarity, I'm tired. I don't even want to walk in the direction that I'm now clear of because I'm overwhelmed, overstimulated, over it, right? So to wrap that up in a bundle, clarity without chaos. That's a sign you're operating in your purpose. On to the next one. So my next one is peace despite uncertainty. Like I've mentioned so many times during this pivot journey of mine, I don't have answers. I don't have long sight answers. I can't see very, very far into the future of what things look like. I don't have predictable routes that are giving me predictable outcomes. There are just so many things that I'm uncertain about, from not just as clear as day to day, sometimes it's hour to hour. I'm just very uncertain about how certain things are going to pan out. But there's also now a level of peace because I don't have the answer, and that I don't have the answer. I'm still at peace. This is coming from someone who, as an over person, overthinker, overstimulated, overachieving, over analyzing, over those things, that person. Peace doesn't come easy to me. Uncertainty is like a taboo word. Like, I need to be clear. That could be the Virgo in me, the woman in me, the mother in me, the ENTJ personality in me. That could be a whole bunch of different things in me that requires certainty, because certainty creates structure, and I need structure. At this point in my life, there is no structure. There are certain things that are structured, but most of it is not. In the past, that would have totally disrupted my peace. And I would be angry, frustrated, upset, or curled up in a ball somewhere trying to make sense of something. I'm probably the most peaceful I've been in years. And it is still strange to me. I don't know if age also has something to do with it, because so many things in my life are up in the air. And that uncertainty should scare me. And it doesn't. I'm at peace. I try to blame it on being in avoidance mode and, not seeing the forest for the trees. But that's not the case. I just have a peace in my spirit that I think is directly linked to faith. And I'm just like, okay, I trust God. I trust myself. I trust that this will work out. I have no idea what that workout is going to look like. But woo-saw, like, that's the best I can give you is woo-saw. I'm at peace. I didn't have to do yoga to get there. I didn't have to drink tea to get there. I did not have to meditate to get there. I think I just had to flex my faith muscles to get there. And there is peace despite uncertainty. So that's a sign. Let's move on to another sign. So my next one might seem a little complicated. I hope I can articulate this well. But another sign that you are operating in your purpose, to me, is provision without hustle. And what I mean by that is that you are provided for without having to hustle and grind for it. No, you're not a passenger princess of your life, but some of your needs or your most pressing needs and a few of your wants are taken care of. So you're not operating out of lack. My camera's doing something funny, so hopefully we're good. You're not operating out of lack, okay? So provision without hustle means that you don't know how it's going to happen. You're not grinding it out. You're not burning the midnight oil unless you want to, unless you're in the zone, right? But you're not forcing this thing to happen so that needs are met. It's just naturally happening. Quick story. A couple of days ago, we had like this really pressing bill that needed to be paid. Honey, we always got pressing bills that need to be paid. That's neither here nor there. We had this really pressing bill that needed to be paid. And like I said, with me leaving my other career behind, I also lost a tremendous amount of income. So that scared me in a way that this bill was due. And it has typically been my responsibility, or the thing that I have volunteered to take care of, and financially I am not in the position to take care of that thing. Well, as the due date came closer, I still had peace. I still had clarity. I did not know how the answer was going to come to pay the bill. I did not know when the answer was going to come to pay the bill. I did not know if the bill was going to get paid. But there was this level of peace that allowed me to say, woosah. When the bill became due on the due date, my husband was presented with an opportunity that covered the bill 3 times over. Out of nowhere. I do not call those miracles, right? Miracles to me almost seem like you have no idea where that source came from. That was God's provision. My husband did not have to hustle for that. He did not have to go pound the pavement, knock on doors, beat down people, call up favors, nothing. Neither did I. The opportunity was presented to him, it was placed on his table, and it paid for that bill 3 times over. That's provision without hustle. To me, because I'm leaning so much into my faith and saying, hey, you want me to take this walk. I have faith in you, God, that you're going to make this do what it do. Okay? I'm going to do what I can. You're going to do what you do. And we're going to meet in the middle. I'm walking alongside you. And in most times, you're walking ahead of me. This bill needs to be paid. You know that. I know that. The bill collector know that. Let's see what happens. And it happened. So for me, when that provision happens, it's so that I can continue to focus on the path. Because God knows if I got to stress about that, I'm coming up off that path. And I'm going to spend so much more time trying to figure out the solution to getting this bill paid that I am rerouted from my destination. And I believe God says, here, boom, let me give you this so that you can keep going in that direction because you're walking in your purpose. That's just me. On to the next one. Okay. This is actually my last one, and the timing is great because, again, my battery is doing, my camera is doing things that I don't recognize. So hopefully this content comes across clear, but we're going to keep it moving. Anyway, so my final sign that you are operating in your purpose is, what did I say? Is feeling joy when answers, directions, or instructions are given. I think when we pray for things and we receive instruction on what we have to do, sometimes those instructions don't align with what we want to do, right? So it creates this apprehension, anxiety, reluctance, fear, risk. Everything tells us, no, I don't want to do that, right? And so I believe when you start feeling joy, that instructions, directions, guidance is given to you because it's about to answer something or it's about to open a path, that's when you know you're operating in your purpose. When my business coach poses a question or gives me instructions or homework or things to think about, I feel joy. I don't feel like, not another thing to think about that's going to take me days to figure out, and I'm further and further away from generating revenue because now she wants me to work on this. I feel joy because I'm like, a path is going to open because of this. An opportunity is going to present because I do this work. When I pray and I get instruction, guidance, direction, answers, I feel joy. Even if it doesn't immediately seem like or feel like that makes sense or it's something I want to do. I'm like, okay, if this has settled in my spirit that this is the direction or the guidance or the route I need to take, then I have to absorb it and walk with it, because I know that as a result of following the instructions, the guidance, and the directions and receiving the answer, it's going to get bigger and better from there. The same way, if you're a mom, when you give your kids instructions or directions and they follow them, you reward them, right? That's kind of how I think of things when you're operating in your purpose. Again, for instance, my children, they will say, hey mom, can I go hang out with this friend? They're asking a question. I will say, after you take out the trash, go walk the dog, clean your room, do your laundry, get prepared for school for the next day or for the week or whatever. And don't forget to do this. When they complete those tasks, they follow those instructions, those directions, that guidance, they get the answer. So mom, can I hang out with those friends? Me. Did you do everything I told you to do? Did you do what I asked you to do? Did you do what I instructed you to do? Yes, mom. Then your answer is yes. Yes, you can go. And not only can you go, here's some money for your pocket. Or not only is there some money for your pocket, go ahead, now you have more time to hang out. I can extend your curfew a little bit because all these things are taken care of. I don't have to worry about you getting home to do all the things that I needed you to do. They're done before you go, right? To me, that's how it all plays out. When you follow the instructions, the directions, the guidance, and the answers, it just opens up the field for you. It just makes the flower bloom. Everything opens and begins to work out better for you. All right. So those are my signs that you're operating in your purpose. 7 signs that you're operating in your purpose. These are things that I've seen along my path in this pivot and in this journey. If your signs are the same, like I said, we're here. I'm glad. If they're different, that doesn't mean yours are wrong or mine are wrong. It means God is talking to us differently. Opportunities are happening to us differently. We are on different paths at different times. So many variables can make our signs different. What I want to know in the comments is, what are some of your signs that you're operating in your purpose? And how did you come across those signs that you're operating in your purpose? And when you got those signs, did it connect that you were operating in your purpose? So that's what I have for this video. I hope that you found this content educational, entertaining, and enlightening. And if so, please hit that subscribe button. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow. All the social media things you can do that, please. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Give this video a thumbs up. Let's get these numbers up. Share this out with your community. I would love to expand the conversation on the signs that you are walking in your purpose. So I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye.